Hey everybody, Heather here. Are you ready to color our June Copic coloring card kit of the month? This is a cute CC Designs image. The girl is cute Birgitta, and the bench is called Spring Bench, and this month you get both of those stamps in your card kit. I've already stamped both of my images on Nina 80-pound solar white cardstock with Memento Tuxedo black ink. And I have those separate. You could also mask your girl and stamp her on here. I just made it easy and stamped them both separate. So I'm going to cut my girl out and then put her onto my bench after I've colored both of them. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with E21, and I always lay that color down where I want it to be darkest first. So I'm going to start down here on her legs. And so I want it to be darkest right underneath where her shorts are touching and down the inside of her leg. And I'm going to go over next with E00. And I start by laying my pen down on top of the color I just put down and lightly brushing it into the area I'm going to color. And since this is such a small area, I'm just going to color it all the way in. And then I'll go back to E21, and I'm going to go up here and work on her hand. So I'm going to do it right underneath of the cuff of her shirt and along the bottom of her hand. Same with this side. And then I'll fill it in with E00. And again, I start by laying my pen down on the color I just laid down and brushing it out into my non-colored area. Alright, let's go up here and work on her face. And for her face, I'm going to start by doing her neck. So I'm going to go right underneath where her chin is. And it's such a small space that I'm just going to fill it all the way in. There's not enough, really enough room for me to add a bunch more color on there. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to add some color underneath of her bangs. And down the side of her face. And then I'm going to go all the way around. So it looks like it rolls underneath. And then I like to give her a little bit of definition on her face for a nose. So I'm just going to give it a little curved line right between those two dots. And next I'm going to do E00. So again, I start brushing on the color I've already laid down. And go over that space I put down for her nose. Okay, and then I'm going to fill it in with E000. So again, I start brushing down on the color I just laid down, and I brush it out into my white space. Brush over her nose area. Like that. And I know it looks kind of patchy, but that's okay because we're going to put some more color on there after we do her cheeks. And for her cheeks, I'm going to start with R20. And I just pick where I want them to go, and I want mine to go over this little dot, but I like my cheeks to go clear to the edge of her face. And then I'm going to add R30 over the top of that to blend it out. And so I start again on my R20 that I just laid down, and I take R30 and I just flick it out just a little bit away from where the line stopped. And now I'm going to add some more shading to her skin, so I'm going to go back to E21, and I want it to be a little bit darker here on the side, so I'm going to just darken it up and go a little bit down here under her chin. And then I'm going to come back with E00, and I want to soften that line, so I'm going to again brush my marker on top of my E21 that I just laid down, and I'm going to flick it clear out past my cheek color because I want to blend that a little bit more. Same for this side. And then I'll go over that whole area with E000. And I think I want to define her nose still a little bit more, so I'm going to take my E21 and just draw that little line back in there that I started with. Make it a little bit darker again, and then go over with E00, and then lightly brush over it with my E000. I'm going to pink up her cheeks a little bit more too, so I'm going to go back with my R20. And I'm going to darken it up out here on the outside a little bit better. Well, she's got rosy cheeks now. And then I'll go over that with R30, and again brush over the R20, and just flick out just a little bit more. And then I'm going to soften the lines on the cheek color with E000. And I think her ankles down here, her legs need to be a little bit darker, so I'm going to go back over it with E21. And then E00. Just don't think I got them dark enough quite the first time. And for her hair, I'm going to work in sections, so I'm going to do her bangs first. And I'm going to start with E37, because I like to go dark to light. And I'm just going to, her hair kind of flows down like this, and then kind of comes around over on this side. So I'm going to try to follow the curve of her hair. Just put a little bit of this E37 on there. And then I want to do also the bottom of her bangs. I'm just going to flick a little bit up. Just like that. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to add E35. And I go right over the top of that I just laid down. So I'm going to start about, halfway up, I would say. And then I'm just going to flick a little bit down past that, so about 1/4 of an inch or so. Same for the bottoms. And then I'm going to add E33. And again, I start where I've already laid down my color and start flicking in the E35 section. So I'm going to start with my E33 and lay it down in E35 and just flick it down a little bit further. Okay, and then I'm going to go over it with E31. And again, just keep flicking. And you can leave some white spots in there too. So you don't have to fill them all the way in. It kind of gives it a little shiny effect if you don't color it all the way. Just leave a few little white spaces if you would like. Usually mine ends up getting covered in before I'm finished, but sometimes it doesn't. Okay, now I'm going to go backwards and I'm going to go E33. E35. And then I'm going to add a few streaks with E37. Kind of gives it some definition if you kind of flick down a little bit into the lighter areas, and makes it look like the hair is coming down into that area and makes it look more like hair. Okay, and then I'm going to start down here at the end of her ponytails. So I'm going to start again with E37. So I like it to be dark, like right where the scrunchie would be, and then the very tips of these little bottoms of her pigtails. And then I'm going to go in with E35. E33. And just continue flicking and adding little hair streaks as you go. E31. And then I'm not going to go backwards this time. I'm just going to add some E37 for hair streaks in here. So I'm just going to flick my pen down from the little hair scrunchie. Maybe a couple up from the bottom of her pigtails. Same with this hair. She's got it in little braids of some sort here. Just like that. So let's go up here and work on the crown of her head, and I'm going to do one side at a time. So let's do this side over here first. So I'm going to start by doing my E37, of course. I'm just going to flick right here where her roots would be. And then I'm going to get the bottom of this ponytail. And then it kind of dips in right here, so I'm going to give it some dark right there. And then I'm going to add E35. And since we're cutting her out, you don't have to be really careful. You can actually, I'm not too worried about going out of the lines this time. And of course I'm staying in the lines because I don't have to really worry about it. But since you're going to cut her out, it wouldn't matter if you went out the lines, as long as you don't color her face. And then we're going to do E33. And I'm kind of following around how I've got my, remember I had my white space right here across her bangs, so I'm just kind of letting it kind of flow back around here in a curl around on her head, so her white area over here on her hair now kind of matches the white that was across her bangs right here. And then I'm going to add E31. And then I'm going to go backwards and go E33. E35. And then add some hair highlights with E37. And I just give them quick flicks, so they look like little skinny hair pieces coming down. And let's do a few right here where it comes down. Okay, and let's do the other side. Okay, so we're going to start again at the crown of her head with E37. Bottom of her little pigtail. And again, her hair kind of tips in right here, so I want it to be dark right there where it kind of pulls in towards her hair, towards her face. Okay, and then we're going to add E35. E33, and again I'm going to leave my white space so it kind of curls around here with the rest of her hair. And then we'll do E31, and then we'll go backwards with E33, E35, and finally E37 to add our hair streaks. So there's her hair all finished, but let's zoom in a little bit so you can see what E37 looks like to add the streaks on there. Doesn't it add just a little bit more realistic effect on there with this, the E37 that makes a little strands of hair? And I like how the white, I left just a little bit of white in there so it looks like the sun is shining on it and it's just shiny looking. Alright, so next let's do our shoes since we have the browns out still. And for her shoes, we're going to start with E37, and I want her shoes to be darkest along the edge. So I'm just going to take my E37 and lightly go right along the edge of her shoe. And then this shoe is overlapping this one, so it's going to cast a shadow. So I'm going to go down the side of that one just a little bit. And then this one, let's do the outside. Right along the bottom. Do her sole. I guess I could do the sole on this side too. Just a little bit above the sole on this one. And next I'm going to add E35. I'm just going to brush it out just a little bit away from my E37. And then I'm going to fill it in with E33. I'm being careful not to touch her sock. Because they're going to be white. Alright, and I'm liking how those look.